Part of our course looks at the question of pidgins and creoles, and that question is important, particularly for English. Why? Because there are many English-based creoles as a consequence of British colonialism, basically. And there have been many English-based pidgins, or pidgins in which English enters. It's particularly important as well for an understanding of some of the origins of American Black English, which, as you will see later, it is argued, developed from a pidgin into a creole and therefore has quite different origins from general American English. So we have to have a basic understanding, I think, of what pidgins and creoles are. Now, the lecture notes here and then the textbooks cover this area very well, or Wikipedia will do it well as well. And I have no real need to insist on all the features. I'll just make some quick notes. What is a pidgin? The good definition, the easy one, it's a natural language. That's not a computer language. A natural language with no L1 speakers, no native or mother tongue speakers. Okay, so we use it as a lingua franca for trade situations, for contact between people who have different L1s. What's a creole? It's a pidgin that has started to gain native speakers. That is, that has been in use for more than a generation and is becoming, or may become, a full-fledged language, a variety. From there you go on to processes of decreolization, when a creole language with this origin becomes standardized and absorbed into a standard, usually national language. And interesting processes of recreolization, as has been happening in Britain, where immigrants from the West Indies arrive with different creoles and start to develop, in order to affirm their distinction from standard English, a British-based creole dominated by Jamaican, we are told. That's very interesting, and you can cover those by just doing readings. Two things really interest me in the literature on pidgins. The first is pure syntax. It's the pronoun system, the closed system of pronouns. In talk pisin, for example, the pronouns are me, okay, and then mi pela, you me. That is the plural of the first person. We, in English, has two forms. One, mi pela, that is I and others, but not you, that is the exclusive we, and the other one, you me, I and you, but not the others, that is the inclusive we. So a distinction that's not made in English is made in talk pisin. That is, we normally think of a pidgin as reduced, simplified, almost infantile language, but it's not, because it makes distinctions that are obviously of importance in a trade situation or a situation of contact between cultures. You've got to know if, when I say we, if that's you and me, or my big friend over here against you. Similarly, the second person plural is distinguished. In English, we only have you. You can be you one or you all of you. Americans say y'all to distinguish that. Australians say yous. We have a plural. Anyway, talk pisin also has a plural. It's you, individual, or you pela, you as a group. For similar reasons, I suspect. It's important in these trade contact situations to know exactly who is with whom, and therefore we have it expressed in the pronoun system. So it's not necessarily true that these are simplified cases of English. They have been made more complex when it's necessary. The second point that interests me in the literature on pidgins, and has interested many other people as well, is the fact that the pidgins embed on top of each other. You can follow the history through from Sabir to the Portuguese-based pidgins to the Dutch and German, and different lexifier languages come and go. And you'll find this common syntactic matrix to many of the colonial pidgins with different words, different lexifier languages are there. And some words are remarkably common throughout all the pidgins. The most cited ones being sabe, which as Spanish speakers know means do you understand? Happens in all the good adventure films. And pequeñ or pikin for little. So that the pickaninny that I know in Australia for a young Aboriginal indigenous girl, called a pickaninny not just in Australia but in other places as well, comes from the Portuguese word for small. And this is picked up and used and transported from pidgin to pidgin. It creates this quite wonderful image of the contact situation, the trade situation, the people meeting between cultures as sharing a common space all over the world in that colonial and imperialist era. And the ships moving the elements of the language from one such space to another. I rather like it because I play with the theory of intercultures, that there are sedentary cultures where people till the soil and look after cattle and stay in one place and develop a language there, and the community, the speech community, has a relationship with the soil. But also, if we follow through the message of pidgins and creoles as a possible mode of linguistic development, it's also possible that some languages develop precisely through contact, through exchange between cultures, and not from the soil, and that is an alternative way of seeing the development of speech communities. True, a feature of pidgins is that they come and go. They have temporary lives. The history is littered with forgotten pidgins. And true, not many creoles these days are successful. They become languages of identification, national languages, to mark off, for example, the difference from Standard English. That is, they become languages of the soil. However, my interest is still there. I close with a note. When I had long hair, which was true, believe it or not, I used to speak a pidgin called Fanekalo in what was then Rhodesia. I lived the dying years of hardcore British colonialism, I guess. And I can remember using that language to get up in the morning, get my tea, and to tell my boys what to do. It's an easy language to speak, and you speak it because it works. That is, you're speaking well when they do what you want them to do. From my perspective, though, that pidgin was a language of imperatives, a language born of tremendous power differentials. I was 18, 19. And a terrible, terrible blood-stained reminder of periods of intercultural relations that are best forgotten, I hope.